Hello, sourdough. So I'm just using this first frame here to list our mise en place for the recipe we're going to be making today. It's just a fancy word for things you need to put in place to make the recipe that you are about to embark on. This video is going to take you through step by step from the very moment that somebody gives you some starter and says, "Hey, I've got some sourdough starter. Do you want it?" And you go, "Sure." And then you get home and go, "I don't know how to make sourdough." That's crazy. Then you play this video and then you just kind of go along. This is my accumulation of all of the trial and error that I've had with baking sourdough. And now I've finally gotten to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm good at this and I want to pass it on. I want you to share in the joy of making sourdough. It really is fun. So now you can just come along with me and learn how this is done so that you can flex your mad skills. All right, so grab your stuff and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, if you are here watching, it is probably because somebody in your life gave you some sourdough starter and said, "Hey, I've got some starter. Would you like to make sourdough?" And you said, "Sure." And if you're like me, that person said, "Well, you're just gonna have to feed it a couple times and it should be ready to use." And I went, "Great." Then I went home and immediately Googled, what does it mean to feed starter and how do you make sourdough? And just had no idea what I was doing. So here we are. My starter has been dormant for a little while, so it kind of separated. So that was me just giving it a quick stir. Now I am going to make it active by feeding it a couple times today. What does that mean? I'm going to do equal parts starter, water, and flour, 50 grams of each, to feed it, to start it. So let's just do that first. We have our scale here. I'm going to hit tare just to set it to 0 and add 50 grams of starter. Whoa. Listen, that came to 54, but that's okay. It's going to be equal parts, so then maybe I'll just make this go to 104. Close enough. And then I'm going to add my part flour. That water, by the way, is just like skin temperature. Okay, and this is just some unbleached bread flour, some King Arthur, nothing fancy. Okay. Okay, so what we have here is very, very close to equal parts. Okay, this, I'm just giving this a quick stir. I'm going to try to homogenize it as much as I can. Okay. This is pretty inactive. It's been pretty dormant for a while, hence the need to feed it twice. So I am going to let this sit. It's a pretty warm environment in here. One thing you could do, you could set your oven on warm very briefly and then just shut it off and have a slightly higher temperature in there. You could put it in there and it'll probably rise a little bit faster. This is going to sit out for like 3 or 4 hours. What I like to do is put a little piece of painter's tape to kind of mark where the line is of where it started. You know, before it rose. I'm trying to just level this, you know. So it's like that kind of thing. Because I'll come back in a couple hours. I'll be like, oh, I can see, you know, that it has gone up quite a bit. Okay. Being that this is our first feeding, this may not like fully double up. But, you know, after like 3 or 4 hours, we're going to feed it again. 50 grams of this with 50 grams of water with 50 grams of flour. Also, when we have what's left over is like what we will discard, you can fry it up and eat it. It's actually really good. Some dude on YouTube taught me that. And it's a really fun fermented treat. Okay, so we're going to let this sit for a while and we'll come back later. Cheers. Okay, we are back. It has been about 4 hours. So I kind of just want to show you what happened here. It's kind of hard to see. The light has changed, but yes, our starter has definitely become sort of bubbly. And I took the tape off. I'm sorry. But it did start to creep over the line, but it didn't exactly like double. I know it's not, you know, expanding a ton. And that is why we need to do the second feeding. So I already jumped ahead and took what we made earlier. I took 50 grams and added 50 more grams of water and 50 more grams of flour to feed it again. So we're just doing the same thing we already did. You know, except this is now more active because it's been fed once. because it was pretty dormant when it was in the fridge. Okay, so now that this is all mixed together, we will revisit this in a couple hours. You're going to see it's going to be a lot more bubbly than even this one was. It will definitely have doubled in size and be ready to use. And when we do go ahead and make our batter, our first ingredient will be water. And when we put this starter on the water, you'll see it will be so active, it will actually literally float. That's going to be one of the telltale signs that your starter is gangster. So I'm going to mark this again with tape, and we will come back in a couple hours and get our dough started. Cover this real quick. Okay, we'll just leave that for now. Okay, so this portion here, right, this starter, this is basically what you're not using, right? Commonly called the discard. Yes, you can discard it. You can just throw it in the garbage, or you can give it to a friend and say, hey, feed this one more time and it's ready to use, or whatever. Okay, sidebar. And I so wish that I had some green onions right now. I would totally demonstrate this, but you can do this, okay? This dude online was like, use this fermented mixture to make a fried bread, right? So he threw it in a skillet with some oil, threw some scallions on top, a little salt, pepper, garlic, and made a fried bread. And I went, wow, that's kind of cool, right? Why waste it? I made it myself. It was freaking amazing. It tasted like carnival food. It was so awesome. So I'm just letting you know, if you're making sourdough and you don't want to discard your discard, and you don't have a friend to give it to, and you don't want to throw it away because it seems wasteful, fucking fry it. Fry it with some onions and stuff. Do something with it. Make it a tasty snack. Okay, cheers. Okay, so I just went ahead and made one just to kind of show you for example's sake, but look at that. It's so cool. So you can take your discard and just throw it together with garlic, onions, salt, pepper, chives, whatever. And now you have fried dough. So good. Okay, so this is just a little something special you can throw together. Costs nothing. You would have thrown it away anyway. So here we are. Plus. Okay, and now that our starter has been fed twice, you can see it is definitely ready to use. It's bubbly, it's active, and it has almost doubled, just about doubled. So we are good to go. Now that our starter is ready to use, let's go ahead and make our bread dough. Okay, first thing is we are going to put the water in first, remember, because we're going to make sure that this can float. We know it can float because, we saw how bubbly and airy it is already. But this is just a fun practice. Okay, so we're going to do 350 grams of water. Again, this is skin temperature or slightly warmer. Perfect. 100 grams of starter. Oh, perfect. 12 grams of salt. 500 grams of bread flour. Okay, everything is measured out, and I use this to stir it all together. This is a Danish dough hook. This does a really fantastic job. It's going to be kind of what they call a shaggy dough. I've seen that term repeatedly online. Mix it until it makes a shaggy dough. Eventually, it's not going to be shaggy, but at first, perhaps it might be. You can see this does look a little shaggy. Okay, but the Danish dough hook is a great tool. It does a great job of scraping down the sides and combining everything. Get the this mixed up as best you can. It's okay if it doesn't look attractive or perfect. It's not going to make any difference later. Look, this is pretty well combined. There's no little dried bits anywhere in the bowl. Fabulous. Okay, this is like really looking good. Okay, we're all mixed together here. All right, I have a little silicone topper here. It's airtight. So I'm gonna just go ahead and let this sit for 45 minutes, and then we're gonna do 5 stretch and folds, where I'll show you what that looks like later. We're gonna do those about 30 minutes apart, and so we're gonna just leave it here for now. Okay, so it's been 45 minutes. Let's take a look here. All right, so we're gonna start the first of 5 stretch and folds. These are gonna take place half an hour apart. The dough will change progressively. You will feel a difference. It will change. Okay, so basically, stretch and fold. You just get your hand underneath it and give it a nice healthy tug, and you're folding it over. This is creating like tension in the dough, and it's also like stretching out and strengthening the gluten in the bread. You just need to do this like a handful of times for each, round of stretch and folds. I'm gonna see maybe one more. Just gonna tack it down. Fold it over, tack it down. Okay. Okay, fine. One more. One more. I just want to like take this side and do one of these. Okay, cool. Okay, we're in good shape. Let's leave this for half an hour. We'll just come right back. All right, it's been 30 minutes. Once again, here we go. We're gonna do our stretch and folds. I can tell that the texture has already become noticeably different. Tougher already to fold this. Wow. Okay. Let's do one more. Get this little guy here. Okay. Nice tight little ball. All right, and then we'll be back again in another half hour. Okie dokie. You know the drill by now. We are back for our 3rd round of stretch and folds. This is what we're looking like right now. This dough looks really like smooth, like butter. It's really taken on a different feel. I mean, you at this point should feel how this is changing. It's becoming really elastic and smooth, but also tightening really easily as you're doing these stretch and folds. You can feel it. How this is creating tension in the loaf and kind of stitching all that tension into the middle. And that's the thing that's going to make that's part of what's going to make your finished loaf really rise well. Is stretching out all this gluten and building tension in this dough ball. And we are really stretching it. Okay, that felt good. This feels really good. Okay, we have 3 down. We have 2 more to go. So we're going to give it another half hour. Okay, so we'll leave it here for now. We'll be back for number 4 soon. Okay, here we are doing our penultimate stretch and fold, number 4. So why do we do 5? I don't know. I do 5. It's just the sweet spot that I've found through trial and error. And also what I have heard other sourdough makers say on the interwebs, in the videos, etc. So when I was learning to do this, I followed someone who even said, oh, I don't even do any of that. I'm like, all right. But then I came to understand the importance of this. It's getting harder to stretch and fold it. It's just getting really, really tough and strong and lots of tension in here, which is great, That's what we want. That's the point of this. Okay, look, see? Wow. Woof. Okay, seriously, I think that for this stretch and fold, this is going to be it. Wow. Okay, that's going to be it right there. This is really nice and really good. Okay. I'm kind of like stitching it together here. Okay, cool. All right, we have one set of stretch and folds left, and then we'll be good. Okay, this is our 5th and final stretch and fold, and we know what to do. Whoa. This ball is really tight. Okay. It doesn't even like want to stretch anymore. So okay, one more. One more. Okay, so this is going to sit out for 4 hours for its bulk rise, and then we're going to throw it in a Banneton basket and throw it in the fridge for anywhere from 8 to 12 hours for its final rise before we go ahead and actually bake this thing. So now we can just cover it up for 4 hours and walk away. Our bulk rise is done. It's been 4 hours. Let's check it out. Wow. That has really risen a lot. I'm going to throw a little bit of flour on the counter here. And we're going to spill this out. Wow. And we're going to just kind of tuck this together a couple times, much like we did previously with our stretch and folds. We're just going to like, one last time, we're going to just build a little bit more tension in our loaf and just kind of stitch and tuck it together. Got some big bubbles here. Okay, this is a Banneton basket. We're going to line it with a linen liner. Yours most likely came with one just like this. Throw a little flour inside here. It's going to go in the fridge for our final proof. So we're going to refrigerate this for about 8 to 12 hours. A little bit of flour in here just to ensure that it's not going to stick when we pull this out. Okay. All right, awesome. Stitching it together one more time. All right. All right. Look, I'm just putting a little bit of flour here because I don't want it to stick to the little linen bonnet. I'm going to put a little linen bonnet over the top. Okay. We're going to refrigerate this for 8 to 12 hours. And then I will see you back when we are ready to get this bad boy baking. Cheers. Okay, we are nearing the end of our bread baking tutorial here. This is the exciting part. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 450 degrees. Throw your Dutch oven in there and preheat it for about 20 to 30 minutes. You want to get it nice and hot. Inside my oven, I have a little setup here that has served me well. I'm preheating my Dutch oven, as you can see here on the top shelf. And then underneath that, I have a baking stone. That's going to absorb any excess heat and keep the bottom of my loaf from getting too brown or too dark. And then at the very, very bottom here, I have a skillet full of hot water. If your water is getting really hot in here, please be careful when you open your oven. Because you could get a blast of hot steam to the face. We don't want that. When the lid comes off during the second half of our bake, that steam is going to help the loaf retain some moisture. So, okay, this has been in here for quite a while. So over here, our final rise is complete. Now, when I put the Dutch oven in the oven to preheat, I went ahead and took this bread out at the same time. So this has been sitting out for about 20-25 minutes. Yay. The reason that we left it with the sloppy side up yesterday is because it just makes it easy to just dump it right into our parchment paper. I went ahead and cut out a circle of parchment. This is going to just drop right down into our nice hot Dutch oven. I put a little bit of flour on it too, just so make sure it's not going to stick. And I'm going to just go ahead and gently put our bread bowl right there on top. Wow, she pretty. Cool. If when you purchased your Banneton basket, it was part of a bread making kit, it may have included something like this. This is a silicone thing that would just drop right down into your Dutch oven and essentially serve the same purpose as our parchment paper. So you could use this too. I just haven't used it. For me, the parchment paper is tried and true, so it ain't broke. Now, before I drop this into our Dutch oven and start baking it, I'm going to put a couple of score marks on the bread. This is going to serve to help it expand, and it's also going to add a decorative touch. So this is called a bread lame. This may have also, you may have come across this if you bought yourself a bread making kit. It's got a sharp blade on the handle here. Okay, so I'm going to carefully remove my Dutch oven from the oven where it's been preheating. And now that that is in, we are going to bake that for 25 minutes with the lid on. We're going to pull it out and then do another 12 to 15 minutes with the lid off. We are at the 25-minute mark where we're going to go ahead and take the bread out. Remember, steam, hot steam. Careful, step back. This smells amazing. Let's take a look at what we got going on in here. She purty. She purty. Look. Wow. Nice rise. Beautiful. All right, cool. Okay, she's going back in for about 12 to 15 more minutes. Let's keep an eye here. It's been just about 12 minutes, and I thought I would just go ahead and take a peek here. And this is getting really dark on top. I'm thinking about pulling this out here. This looks done to me. I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull this. I'm gonna go ahead and take the internal temperature of the bread. If it's 205 in the center, we know it's done. So let's take a second to do that. Boom. Let's get her on a cooling rack. And we're in really good shape. This is a gorgeous loaf. I think then the very last thing we'll do is in about 10 minutes after she cools, let's take a look at the crumb. Wow, we had a really nice success here. Really nice rise. The shape is super pretty. The top is kind of crusty. And yet, this is very soft. Let's go ahead and cut right in here. Still warm. I can see some steam coming off. Look at that. I'm gonna give this a quick taste. It's airy. It has a nice chew to it. And it's got a little bit of that sharpness, a little bit of that tang, that sourdough taste. This is like so on point. Wow. Yay. Yay. Another thing while we're examining the success of this glorious loaf is, remember all those stretch and folds we did? And I talked about building tension in the loaf. This is why. See, look at this. Look at the way it's like pulling apart from itself as it's kind of bursting and expanding. That is part of the texture that we're really trying to achieve with all those stretch and folds. So this is the product of all the time that we spent strengthening the gluten and getting tension in the loaf. The bottom. Look at the bottom. See? Not too dark, not too brown. It's just right. It's just beautiful. Just right. Look. Look. Ah, so gorgeous. And the house smells amazing. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that I was able to kind of simplify and demystify the sourdough making process. All of the times and the temperatures that I used along this recipe came out of trial and error, came out of me watching lots and lots of videos and reading food blogs, and then just, you know, like I said, trial and error, figuring out what works best for me. So, you know, if you're following along, I hope that this has inspired and empowered you to love making sourdough. Just enjoy it and have fun with it. And thank you so much.